Formative assessment refers to a wide variety of methods that teachers use to conduct in-process evaluations of student comprehension, learning needs, and academic progress during a lesson, unit, or course. Formative assessments help teachers identify concepts that students are struggling to understand, skills they are having difficulty acquiring, or learning standards they have not yet achieved, so that adjustments can be made to lessons, instructional techniques, and academic support. The general goal of formative assessment is to collect detailed information that can be used to improve instructions in student learning while it's happening. What makes an assessment formative is not the design of a test, technique, or self evaluation, but the way it is used. For example, to inform in process teaching and learning modification. Educators may use formative assessment to refocus students on the learning process and its intrinsic value rather than on grades or extrinsic rewards. Encourage students to build on their strengths rather than fixate or dwell on their deficits. Help students become more aware of their learning needs, strengths, and interests so they can take greater responsibility over their own educational growth. For example, students may learn how to self assess their own progress and self regulate their behaviors. Give students more detailed, precise, and useful information because grades and test scores only provide a general impression of academic achievement. Raise or accelerate the educational achievement of all students while also reducing learning gaps and achievement gaps. Let's take a look at a few representative examples of formative assessments. Question that teachers pose to individual students and groups of students during the learning process to determine what specific concepts or skills they may be having trouble with. Specific, detailed, and constructive feedback that teachers provide on student work. Exit slips or exit tickets that quickly collect student responses to a teacher's questions at the end of a lesson or class period. Self-assessment that asks students to think about their own learning process, to reflect on what they do well or struggle with, and to articulate what they have learned or still need to learn. Peer assessments that allow students to use one another as learning resources. Effective planning is the key to successful teaching. Co-planning is one way to organize preparing for lessons effectively. Teachers working with the same year students should schedule meetings at least twice a week to first discuss the outcomes of the lessons that have been already conducted and brainstorm the ideas for the next lessons or a series of lessons. The two documents that are absolutely essential for planning are the course plan and task specification, where the sample summative tasks, their description and assessment rubrics or descriptors are provided. The type of formative assessment tasks practiced throughout the term must be similar to those students will find in their summative assessment tests. Plus, after giving proper feedback based on the rubrics or descriptors taken from the test specification, will help students become familiar with them before the actual summative assessment test. This way, any misunderstanding will be avoided. To develop students' critical thinking skills, it is possible to not give the criteria right away. Teacher can discuss the type of tasks student might complete, the skill targeted, and students can come up with a list of criteria they find relevant to the task and then compare it with the one provided by the teacher. It is preferable to let students give each other proper feedback first, as they have the criteria or descriptors for every task. Teacher should check students' work thoroughly afterwards and provide students with more detailed feedback. For deeper practice, teachers are advised to underline students' mistakes and give them codes rather than correct them. This way, students have a chance to make corrections more properly based on the feedback gotten from their peers and teachers. It is also possible to integrate technology to provide feedback. For instance, there is such a resource as edmodo.com. The interface of this website is very similar to Facebook. So students can post their tasks or upload them in the files of their group, and they can assess each other's works and post their feedback in the feed of the group, where teachers can post their feedback as well.